Aloha Aina, and welcome to Voices of Truth, one-on-one with Hawaii's future, brought to you by the Kiwani Foundation. I'm Ehuke Kahu Cardwell, and here we are today on the leeward side of the island of Oahu. We're at Kaena Point. We have a great guest for you, so let's go on over here and meet her. Aloha Summer.
Aloha Ehu.
How are you?
Good, it's good to have you out here.
Oh, it's great to be here. So I said we're at Kaena Point, but specifically where are we?
Well, we're actually at right in front of the entrance to the state park. Well, it's not even a state park. It's a state park reserve.
Great.
So.
Great. And we got the beautiful Kai behind us, the ocean.
Absolutely.
And we're here today for a couple of very special reasons. I know it says right on the front of your, it can't be more plain that you are a caretaker of the land and the sea, but a caretaker of the land and the sea right here.
Yes.
Yes? And so why did you decide, you just decided by yourself to do this, right?
Well, it was myself and a bunch of other Lawai'a who started to recognize that there was a problem out here relating to resource protection. And so we know that it's our kuleana, and we've had to step it up, and we've had to start doing things that we never thought we'd have to do.
Wow, and Lawai'a are fishermen, yes?
Lawai'a are fishermen.
Those are the people that actually depend on the ocean to feed themselves and their families.
Yes.
So if there's a problem with sustainability of the ocean, then they got a problem in terms of they may be looking at starvation.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's important for them, and of course also because of a love of the land and the ocean of this place.
Right.
Great.
As we are related to it, you know, I mean, we're descendants of Papa and Wakea, so this is, I mean, that's the root of our people.
Yep. So how long you been out here acting as a caretaker, Summer?
I've been out here my entire life, and
Really?
I've been trained to become a caretaker throughout my life here. My dad's mother always taught us that, you know, we always had to malama and take care. And when we came in, we would clean up, and when we left, we would clean up, and we would always take out everything that we brought in. So it was something that was instilled in me, you know, from an early age.
So this sounds to me like it's from day one, from when you were born.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
So I have really strong ties to this place, and it's really hard for me to see some of the damage that's been done in the past, you know, few years. But I'm old enough now that I can step up and actually do something about it.
What ties you to this place? Why this place instead of, you know, some other place on this island?
Right. Well, I mean, not only do I consider myself raised here. I mean, every summer I would come out here with my family, and we'd learn about, you know, the ocean, and we'd learn the mo'olelo of this place, and about the plants, and, you know, the sacred areas.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's a connection there. But also, I recently found out that I actually had family that lived here.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, we never knew that. No, you know, nobody ever said anything about it. But, you know, recently we found out that our genealogy connects us to this place.
So when you say your family used to live here, you mean long time ago?
A long time ago.
Like hundreds or thousands of years ago?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is.
That's amazing.
And it's even more of a connection for me now that I know that.
Kind of ties the past, present, the future all together.
Absolutely.
What are some of the issues that's going on here?
I guess one of the most pressing issues at this point is the erosion, and we haven't seen it ever this bad before. I mean, you can see this the backfill of soil that you know, was put here a while ago.
This stuff up here. And of course, this is not sand.
No.
But it's like dirt or mud on the beach now. And this has come down because of what? Water, rain?
Because of the heavy rains. I mean, it's been a major washout, and it's really unfortunate because it's so close to the reef and to the shoreline. So you can look at all of these salt pans, and they're covered in mud. You know, they're silted, and when the tide is really big, it'll just pull it right out into the ocean. So that's another unfortunate thing, because, you know, the reef system is going to choke to death.
Oh my goodness, look.
Yeah, I know, it's really unfortunate. And the sad thing is when I was a kid, Ehu, I mean, you'd see o'oku, I mean, you'd see limu, you'd see, you know, a lot of different things flourishing in these tide pools. And now, you know, in areas like this where the soil is just eroding right into the water, I mean, nothing can survive in it. It's really unfortunate.
This is covered in mud.
And our fishing resource is right there, you know.
Wow.
So it's so sad, and unfortunately, You know, there aren't many people that are willing to do something about it. I mean, this is supposedly state park land, and the state really hasn't stepped up to put any protections in place for our resources.
The state is doing absolutely nothing about this.
Yes, absolutely nothing.
And for our viewers' benefit, you know, we have viewers both inside of Hawaii and outside of Hawaii around the world summer. These little pools of water right here, if it wasn't covered with mud, would be vibrant with life, marine life.
Absolutely.
Much of which people can pull out and eat and not only sustain themselves, but is actually rich in nutrients, right?
Absolutely. I mean, another thing is that a lot of times that these tide pools are used for spawning, and so the keiki of the fish, or you know, any other sea creature, would be raised in these tide pools until they were big enough to go out, so that they wouldn't be eaten by the bigger predators.
So this is like their kindergarten and elementary school for the kiddies.
Yeah.
Was.
But
is no more. It's absolutely dead. Isn't that a shame? So Summer, where does this dirt, this mud, where does it come from? Was it come upland up there, or
Oh
what?
no, this was actually backfill from what I understand before the 50s. So I'm not sure if it was brought into. They had a plan to put a road around the point at one time.
So wait a minute, you mean to tell me that human beings brought this stuff in by the truckload as landfill?
Yes.
And they didn't.
And they didn't think about, you know, the consequences, the future consequences of it. It's really unfortunate. And I mean, this stretches like along I'd say the first half of Ka'ena on the Mokuleia side. There's now, you know, hills of mud.
It goes that far down.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And another sad thing is we're having a major off-roading problem. And so just imagine, I mean, this is bad. This erosion is bad on its own with just the rain water, but just imagine it being exacerbated because people are driving up and down with their vehicles and they're loosening the topsoil. And so the mud flows are major. I mean, down that way.
In their recreational vehicles, off-road vehicles.
Recreational.
So while they're having
activity.
fun, they're actually loosening the mud and the dirt that comes down here, slides down here when it rains, and does this to these tide pools that are no longer alive.
Right, and it flows. I mean, at some points it's flowing directly into the ocean and to places that, you know, we fish and that we subside on. So it's really unfortunate that people don't get out of their vehicle and see the clear damage that they're doing, you know. So, I mean, it's all part of education, and we've been working to talk to these off-roaders regularly every weekend, and you know, some of them listen and some of them think it's a big joke, and they're not exacerbating the erosion out here, and you know,
They don't think
there's
they're part
nobody
of the
from the
problem.
state telling them that they can't do it. So
Wow.
it's really an unfortunate situation.
Summer, what is it going to take to clean this up and get this back to the way it was? I mean, first of all, I guess I should ask you, is it possible?
Well, I mean, we're already seeing that these tide pools have been hit by mud, and I don't even know if it's possible to clear them of the mud.
Right.
But we can stop the erosion. We can attempt to stop the erosion. So what we've been doing is we've been putting in some rolls of hay in some areas that are really bad. And this morning, actually, this is the first time I've seen the mud running into the ocean. So I gathered a bunch of sticks and pohaku, and I started, you know, creating little dams to try to stop the mud from flowing into the
Sticks
into
and
the
stones.
water. Right, sticks and
Wow.
stones.
Wow, this is amazing. It's like one person out here with your sticks and rocks and stones trying to stop all that. But you know what? I gotta tell you something. History is full of people who did just that, and they prevailed.
Absolutely, and that's why I feel that, you know, it is my kuleana no matter what anybody says. If somebody cites me because I'm here overnight and I'm trying to teach the kids, you know, methods to prevent these harmful situations from happening, I'm going to keep doing it anyway. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate that the state doesn't recognize a lot of the people, the Lavaia especially, who are in here taking care of the place and talking to the people that are doing the damage when the state's not here to do that.
So Summer, it just blows me away to think that these people are up here having fun for recreational purposes and they don't realize the damage they're doing.
Right.
And even worse, when you tell them, some of them don't even care. And so, you know, I mean, these Is this just full of mud or rocks here, this brown stuff?
Well, actually, the backfill is covering the dune system that was once here before. And I mean, culturally, the dunes are very sacred. I mean, it's a vahipana. It's a sacred place.
So wait a minute. You mean to tell me that these little mounds here that we're looking at, that I thought at first glance were just piles of dirt and mud, are actually sand dunes that are covered in mud, like something covered in chocolate.
Right, absolutely.
And the dunes are a sacred place to Hawaiians, and yet now they're covered in dirt. Oh my goodness.
It's really unfortunate, and the thing is what a lot of people don't realize is that, I mean, there are iwi in the dunes.
There's native Hawaiian bones in there.
Yes. So
wow.
I mean, this is a known burial area, and so when people are off-roading and they're doing donuts on the dunes and they're just wrecking it up and pulling all the sand down, you can imagine that sometimes things get unearthed that shouldn't be unearthed.
Shouldn't be unearthed. So that's sacrilegious.
Absolutely.
And it's also like, well, it's like, how would you like it if I did a wheelie on a three-wheeler on your grandmother or mother or father's grave?
Absolutely.
In the graveyard.
Absolutely. And it's really unfortunate too, because even when we tell people that's the case, you know, they say, oh well, there's nothing that tells me that it's a graveyard, or you know, I don't see any marker that says that. But I mean, traditionally, you're not to mark, you know,
the graves.
Of your kupuna.
That's right. That's the Hawaiian tradition. Don't mark the graves.
Right.
Yep.
So I guess one of the other things that we've been doing besides trying to educate these off-roaders is we've been trying to do some dune restoration and to try to replant the native plants that actually exist on the dunes and actually protect the dunes from erosion. So naupaka is actually one of the plants that...
This right here?
This right here.
And how do you say it again? Naupaka?
Naupaka. And the root systems actually hold the soil in. So, you know, even though the water's flowing down, the mud is not going to rush under the naupaka. So that's one of the solutions that we can use for erosion out here, is to continue propagating and planting the naupaka.
So the roots of the naupaka go wide and deep and hold the sand. That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
This is a beautiful plant.
It really is a beautiful plant. And
is there any spiritual significance to this plant?
Actually, I mean, this plant is tied to Mo'olelo of Pele.
And the story of Pele.
Well, one of the stories of Pele.
One of the stories, yeah.
And then there's some other plants this way that also are connected to Pele. And so, I mean, that's another thing. When people are driving around and they're running over the naupaka and they're destroying the environment so that these plants can't survive, you know, we're losing that connection, you know, the connection that we have through Mo'olelo.
Yeah.
So this right here, this tiny purple blue flower, this is actually called Patohe Acha.
Say that one more time.
Patohe Acha.
Wow.
And it's actually named for Pele's younger sister, Hi'iaka Ikapolio Pele, Hi'iaka in the bosom of Pele. And this plant was actually said to protect Hi'iaka when Pele would go out surfing or she would be away. The plant would actually protect her from the sun. So that's where it got its name. Hi'iaka Ikapolio Pele. Not Hi'iaka. Patohe Acha.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So, I mean, and there's a lot of other ground crawlers out here that are really important and kind of keep erosion from happening.
So this is another plant that is both has a practical use and a spiritual use.
Spiritual use.
Spiritual connection. Amazing.
Absolutely. Our people should be concerned, and people all over the world should be concerned that, you know, that this place isn't being cared for and managed in the right way. I mean, except for by the people that are, you know,
that are not caring for it.
Right.
They're supposed to care for it, they're not caring for it.
Right.
So you know, you're right. I mean, we have viewers of Voices of Truth all over the world. And you make a very good point, Summer, that if you live here, obviously it's important to you to have it cared for. But even if you live far away from here in Kansas or New York or Massachusetts, if you come to Hawaii for a vacation and you enjoy and love Hawaii as a place to visit, you obviously want to make sure that it's cared for, so it's here for you when you come to visit it. So
absolutely.
Everybody has a stake in this, no matter where on earth you live.
It's really devastating to see people just tearing up the Aina. I mean, it's just really heartbreaking. It's, you know, it's sick. I get sick to my stomach when I watch it. And, you know, every month I do a search on the internet for off-road videos at Aina, and there's always new ones that pop up.
Tons and tons on YouTube and everywhere else.
Yeah.
You know, Summer, when we pulled up in the parking lot, when we drove up, I noticed on the hood of your car you have some literature in a jar. Is that literature part of your education effort here?
Absolutely. We've been trying to connect with as many people as possible, and especially the visitors that come here, you know. I always, sometimes I give them a trash bag and I say, hey, would you be willing to help us out and, kukua and pick up some opala that you see as you're walking in. Leave it on the side of the road and we'll pick it up later.
Pick up the trash.
I mean, there's so many things that every person can do, every park user can do to protect this place.
Wow.
Yeah. And then also documenting the license plates of abusers or taking video or pictures and sending it up to us because we put together educational videos relating to the
So those are the kinds of videos you want on YouTube.
Yes, yes.
What about the people that don't do off-roading, that come here to see this place? What's their reaction when you tell them, explain to them exactly what's going on?
I think a lot of them are just shocked. And they can see it for themselves, the devastation and destruction that's happening. And a lot of them don't know like the cultural significance of this place, but they can see, that this place is threatened. I mean, ecologically threatened. They can see that it's out of balance. And so what we tell them is it's our kuleana to make sure that we malamapono, that we take care of the balance because we're a part of the balance.
Yep.
So it's really important for us to...
Your responsibility to take care of this place. Yeah. Summer, how far back historically does this place go with respect to being inhabited?
Oh, I can't even tell you. I mean, it's in the chants of Pele and Hi'iaka.
So you're talking about
we're talking about from the first time that people actually arrived here on their va'a. I mean, people had come here.
So you're talking easily 2,000-3,000 years and maybe even more.
Absolutely. And this place for all time has been known as, prime fishing ground. And so there's a lot of people who come out here and know the resources so well. They practically grew up here like I have. And so the role of being the lavaia, actually the word itself is really interesting because
it's a compound word, isn't it?
It's a compound word. So you have lava, and lava means enough, and i'a means fish or seafood. So enough seafood. But when you think about it, as part of our cultural tradition, it wouldn't be enough seafood just for me. It's enough seafood for generations to come. That we need to make sure that the resource is able to carry our generations forward.
To replenish itself.
To replenish itself, right? Yeah. And so when we see that this place is out of whack and that that erosion is causing siltation of the reefs and suffocating the reefs that the fish depend on to survive, and we depend on the fish, we can see that the whole cycle is out of whack. And so many fishermen are focused more on taking care of the resource and not fishing until things are better. Fish spawn here, and I remember as a kid we used to go on the reefs and we would see baby lobster, you name it, it was on the reef. And now you don't see much of anything. It's really unfortunate that a lot of fishermen will tell you that they rarely catch anything out here. And some of us feel that it's because of an imbalance imposed by the state. Because when the state protects one species, the overpopulation of that species has an impact on the rest of the ecosystem.
Right. It's out of balance.
And so, and then we're seeing this from the bottom of the food chain up. That, for example, the honu.
The turtle.
You're right, the turtle. So the more honu out there, the more larger predators, more sharks, less fish because the turtles eat the limu.
Right.
So there's
the seaweed.
Right. And so there's the whole food chain is out of whack, and it's unfortunate to see that a lot of people that are focused on conservation are not looking at the big picture. They're looking at the numbers for one species and saying, oh my goodness, we need to protect them, without thinking about the chain reaction that happens in the entire ecosystem.
So Summer, you were saying that Kaena Point here has a great spiritual significance, yes?
Absolutely.
Tell us more about that. What's here? What's so important about that?
Okay. Well, this place is teeming with spirits because it's actually At the end of this road is a place called the Lena Kauhane.
And what is that?
That's the leaping place into the next world, or into Po, as we call it, into the afterlife. And so, you know, the spirits are traveling through here all the time.
So in other words, when somebody who lived here as a mortal died, their spirit would leap off at that point and go up into the Po.
Or down into the Po.
Or down into the Po, and then into the next life. Wow.
It's pretty heavy stuff. And it wasn't only people that came from this area. I mean, there are only few Lena on each island. And so this is one of the particular...
Only a few points of departure.
Right.
So this is kind of like the dock where the ship leaves. And if you ain't on that ship, you don't get to go.
Right. And it also follows the path of the sun. So if you think about it, this is the northwesternmost point. So it's the point where the sun sets into Po, into the ocean.
Wow.
And so the spirits are following the path of the sun.
They're going in an arc up and up, down,
and into the ocean.
like that. Wow. Amazing.
Over 10 years ago, the state actually created a natural area reserve out there, and the area actually surrounds the Lena. And
And the Lena is the
leaping off
is the
point.
actual leaping off point.
Right.
Okay.
So I mean, because it's well, it's so culturally important. I mean, it's a vahipana, it's a sacred place. But because they've created the natural area reserve out there, it's actually brought more people out there. And so you see people who, you know, stand up on top of the Lena, and you know, they're posing for pictures. And I mean, so people don't even know the cultural significance of the area.
Again, they're desecrating a place that is very, very sensitive and spiritual.
Right.
And really a place that's kapu, forbidden. Yes. Wow. Wow, that is terrible.
It really is.
Now, so are they planning to put something up around that?
They are. There's something in the works right now, and they're calling it the Kaena Point Ecosystem Restoration Project.
And this is the state?
And this is the state. So this is DLNR, and it's actually through a grant from the Wilderness Society. I think it's the Wilderness Society Hawaii chapter that's actually providing the funding for the fence. And so
you don't mean to tell me that they're planning to put a fence around the leaping off point?
Actually, they are. They talked about another option where they would actually create a fence beyond the Lena. But the problem with that is that I guess the bird flight pattern, it would be too short of a landing area for the birds, so that they would have to move the fence outside of the Lena, so it would enclose the Lena.
And they want to put the fence up because?
It's a project to stop predators from coming in and killing off the mole, the albatross, and some of the other seabirds that are nesting out there. So
while that may have its good reasons, the overriding thing is this is a place that's very, very sacred to the Hawaiian people.
Right.
You know, it's like if in the U.S., when you died, you couldn't go anywhere because they fenced you out. If they put a fence around heaven. Right. Wow.
They're not thinking about, you know, how spiritually important it is for our people, that place. You know, and it's very disrespectful to erect a fence around the place where our ancestors are heading into another world. You know,
yes. Yes. How would you like it if you couldn't get to heaven?
Right, absolutely. And it's not necessarily that they can't go through the fence, but it's disrespectful to put something in their path.
Right.
You know.
Right. You know, Summer, we have viewers of Voices of Truth all over the world, in Hawaii and throughout. And of course, the purpose of our show is to inspire our viewers to find their kuleana, find their area of responsibility, like you have, whether it's small or large, to make where they live, hopefully in Hawaii, a better place to live. They may be watching you and me right now and saying, you know what, she's a strong wahine, it's good for her, but I could never do that for myself. What would you say to them? What's your message to them?
I would say there's potential for everyone to make a difference everywhere. I mean, sometimes we just have to walk out the door and actually look down the street, and we're going to see something that, you know, that we'd be able to make a difference on. So I think, don't give up. You know, there's something out there for you, and we have to take care of this place or we're going to lose it. We're going to lose all of our natural spaces if we don't stand up and continue to, you know, perpetuate traditional knowledge and continue to protect areas and to pass the stories along for generations to come.
Wow, wow. Summer, mahalo for being on Voices of Truth. I would say please keep up the work, don't stop, but I know that you're going to keep up.
I'm not stopping.
You ain't stopping, nothing's going to stop you.
No.
And I know that you're ultimately going to prevail. Mahalo for doing what you do. And to our viewers, mahalo for watching Voices of Truth One-on-One with Hawaii's Future, brought to you by the Kiwani Foundation. Remember, you can watch us on the web 24/7 on voicesoftruth.tv.com. I'm Ehu Keikahu Cardwell, and until next time, ahui ho! Mahalo for watching Voices of Truth One-on-One with Hawaii's Future. Watch us on the web 24/7 at voicesoftruth.tv.com. You'll find all our shows, including this one, in case you want to see it again or share it with family and friends. Also view our weekly video commentaries at freehawaiitv.com. And check out our blog, published daily, at freehawaii.info. It's all part of the Free Hawaii Broadcasting Network.